Hey guys, and welcome to my newest movie review. Far out, it feels good to get back into it. It's been a little bit because I've been super busy, but I went and saw, technically I did the double feature, technically. So I actually saw Den of Thieves. I rewatched it, and if you're wondering where it is, it's actually streaming on Netflix. Fun fact. So if you want to go and rewatch Den of Thieves, like I just did, the first and original movie, go and personally, go out and check that movie, go rewatch it, and then check out the sequel, which is Den of Thieves 2, Pandora. I forget how you say it. Anyway, it doesn't matter, it's completely irrelevant. So, I'm going to roll the intro, I'm going to give you the cast, the synopsis, and stuff like that, and the director, and then obviously play my introduction, and yeah, let's talk about the first movie, Den of Thieves. See you soon! So, the thing that I love about, and I'm really big on this, guys. I personally am really big. I really appreciate that for the sequel that they brought back the main two characters. Now, the first one, in my personal opinion, I'm actually so glad. I really genuinely mean that, guys. I am so unbelievably glad that I actually went back and rewatched it before I saw the sequel to it. Because I actually forgot how good it was, and I forgot about the twist at the end, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. I absolutely think, in my personal humble opinion, that they brought this movie home. Now, anyone who has been following my channel for any period of time, you already know this, and those of you who are new to my channel, first of all, welcome. So good for you to be here. I really appreciate you clicking the thing. Guys, those of you who are new to my channel, I just want to give you a quick heads up, just a heads up. I know that you've been following me for any period of time. You've heard me say this a million times every single time, but I like to give it to my new viewers, just in case you don't know this. I don't do spoilers in my movie reviews, because in my personal opinion, guys, spoilers aren't fair. So you're not going to get spoilers from me. However, when I do talk about a scene, I talk about it contextually. So when you go and watch it, if you haven't watched it, you know exactly the scene that I'm talking about. And if you've seen the movie, when I start talking about it in this review, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about also. However, alright, so let's continue on. I loved so much of this first one, Den of Thieves. I love so much about it. I love the color palette. I love the tension that so many scenes, which I'm going to talk about in a second, brought to the audience as we were watching it, and you think that something's going to hardcore go down, and then it gets interrupted, and it's just so well done. And those of you who have been following me for any period of time, you guys know that I love character chemistry. If you don't have palpable character chemistry, in my personal opinion, the film won't work. It just doesn't. It doesn't work. It doesn't meet the criteria of what we're expecting as an audience. Like, it just doesn't work. The script, the script is alone has to be good. Like, that's kind of a given. It's kind of a given. But the direction is, it's okay, that's kind of part and parcel with the script. Like, it kind of is. However, the cinematography and the character building, like, it all is encompassing, and I understand that. But if you don't buy the characters and how they act on set, on screen, then you tap out. Like, you do. You just, I'm done. This doesn't work. And I'm going to talk about something in a second to do with the second movie. Actually, I'll leave it to a little bit later to do with character chemistry, but I'll deal with that movie soon. So, speaking about tension, one of the things that I thought that Den of Thieves brought home, and I really genuinely wholeheartedly mean this, guys, it brought it in spades, was the tension in the sushi restaurant scene. Oh man, the way that Big Nick brings that just gravitas, he brings the seriousness, he brings it's almost like a total arrogance of, I don't care what happens here, but, you know, you're not going to throw down because we're in a sushi restaurant. And the way that he's I'll say elementarily, characteristically brings it in that scene. Like, I just ate it up. I really, really did. And there's so many times in this movie that happens, and they do it so brilliantly. And the reason why it works so well is because of how that movie ends, how Den of Thieves ends. Because there's an absolutely outstanding, if you haven't seen it, this isn't a spoiler, but there's an absolutely outstanding twist that happens at the end of the movie that I personally, I've already seen. I saw it in cinemas when it got released in cinemas back in 2018. And I thought to myself, you know what? No, I'm definitely going to go see it again. And I'm so glad I did. I obviously saw it on Netflix, like I said at the start of this movie review. And I saw it on Netflix, and I thought to myself, after watching it, I'm like, man, I'm so glad I rewatched it because it was so worthy. Like, it really, it stands the test of time. Like, it really stands the test of time. I give a massive salute to the first movie. I don't really ever talk about this. I don't really ever talk about this, but I'm actually gonna talk about this. And I'll even tell you where. I know this is so specific, I know it is, but I paused it because I was like, you know what? I'm gonna talk about that because I think that's appropriate. Now, this is definitely, in my personal opinion, not for kids. Like, and I'm talking like maybe 18 plus. Like, in my personal opinion, like 20 plus. They shouldn't even be exposed to this sort of stuff at that age. That's another topic altogether. However, the scene I'm talking about, it's in a stripper scene. It's in a, you know, where strippers are, right? And this time right there, it is at the 1 hour and 14 minutes and 10 second mark. You're welcome. So when you get to that part, if you've got little ones around or 20 under around, skip forward because that's a very inappropriate scene. Nothing happens, but I mean, I don't know. There's just things that children don't need to see at that age. Anyway, that is subjective, whatever. But like I said earlier, guys, in my personal opinion about Den of Thieves, the biggest thing that I love, obviously, is the character chemistry, because man, does it work. It works so well in this movie. And the twist at the end, you just don't see it coming. Like, you just, well, personally, I can't speak for everyone, obviously, because I'm not everyone. However, it is brilliant. It's outstanding. It holds its punches. It holds its weight. And then the director, like you saw it in the synopsis, the director has brought this movie in spades. And obviously, if you don't know, you're about to know in a second, because I'm about to drop the second half of the review, but I'll drop that in a minute. The director of of Den of Thieves also came back to do the sequel, and so I loved that this movie. I know this is kind of a double negative. I know you better say that doesn't make any sense. Just bear with me. It kind of feels like a big budget movie in a small budget. I know that sounds weird, but it does. Like, rewatching it, I thought to myself, yeah, I'm feeling that, hey, like I actually am. And I really, really, really appreciated the cinematography in the first one, because it felt large. It felt expensive. It really, really did, and it probably was. But it wasn't like, I don't even like mentioning this, but I'm just going to go there. It felt like a Marvel film. Like it did. Just a big, but like obviously not that grandeur, but it did. It felt expensive, and that's probably, in my personal opinion, one of the biggest things that I really, really, really appreciated about Den of Thieves. And just the way that it literally folds in on itself, and especially how it ends. Like, it's just so meticulously woven together that us as the audience get surprised and we're like, oh, yeah, right. That's awesome. And those of you who don't know, you're about to know, the reason why there's a sequel is because of the fact that how the first one ends. They open it really, really cleverly. However, I don't know if this is a spoiler. I guess it's not, because it's not in the film. The way that the first one ends doesn't have any impact on the way the second one starts. There's no correlation. It's totally different. It's completely separate. So you never technically know if the ending of the film, if that ends up, perspiring. I think that's the word. That might not be the word. It is now. You guys are amazing. Guys, guess what? Stay tuned, and I'll see you soon. Check this out. So as you saw, guys, there you go. Guys, now I'm about to talk about Den of Thieves 2. That's right, as you saw in the thumbnail and the description of this movie review, I'm actually giving you a double review in one review. Why? Because you're worth it. And I appreciate you being here, and you're awesome. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. So Den of Thieves 2, in my personal opinion, guys, and this is just my personal opinion, guys, all film is subjective. You might love it, you might hate it, I don't know. I'm just telling you my personal thoughts on this movie, and I'm going to give it to you straight up. I personally thought that the character chemistry to open this film was nowhere near in any way, shape or form at all to the level of the first one. Now, obviously, that's harder to make a sequel just as good as the original. Like, that is, like, okay, the exception, I know, well, there's two exceptions. The Dark Knight, which is better than Batman Begins, and Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 2 is obviously better than the first one. Those are the exceptions. There's probably more, but I'm going to stick with those two for now. It's not bad. Like, it really isn't. Like, it really, really, really isn't bad. However, it just didn't glue like the original. Like, it really didn't. Like, and I'm not trying to be sexist in saying this, so don't go "Rah!" in the comments. I'm just letting you know my personal opinion that the female cast members in Den of Thieves 2 didn't work as well. Like, they weren't the worst. Okay, I'll put it this way. They weren't bad enough for me to click out of the film and be like, nah, I'm done. They weren't that bad. They just had less chemistry in very clear elements than Den of Thieves. Like, it really, it does hold itself. Like, it really does. And the way they're editing in both films, the editing and the camera and the lighting and the sequencing of both films are outstandingly brilliant. Speaking of outstandingly brilliant, I'm just going to drop this one little real quick thing that I saw, and I don't know if I saw it because I have a degree in film and television. I don't know. Or whether it was just that obvious that I saw it. I never know with those things. Like, I can never judge that because I don't have conversations with people and they go, oh man, did you see that mistake? I just don't talk about movies like that. Well, I don't go that deep into it anyway. However, I'm going to tell you about this. In Den of Thieves 2, there's a scene where Big Nick meets O'Shea Jr. Jackson's character from the original film. So he comes back, and so he has the gun. Okay, I don't know if this is a spoiler. It's not really a spoiler. It's not a spoiler. The more I'm thinking about it, it's not a spoiler. I'm just going to let you know that it's a mistake. It was like an obvious mistake. The camera's like 2 shots. You can see them both sitting at the table, and the camera pans down to O'Shea Jr. Jackson Jr.'s hand, and he's got the gun like that, and then he turns it. But then the camera pans back to the 2 shots, and the gun's still like that. And I was just like, did the editor fall asleep? Like, what? Like, are you serious? Like, that was a bad mistake. Like, that, like, I don't know. That's probably nitpicking. But it was, and I saw it, and I was like, whoa! However, so yeah, technically that is two things in this movie that I didn't like. Like I said, it's really hard to get the second movie just as good as the first movie. And I watched the first movie literally this morning, and I didn't find a flaw like that in it. This one was really obvious. And I want to give this movie a little bit of a good job, guys. You had me fooled. Okay. I want to talk about the pole scene from roof to roof. Those of you who have seen the movie know exactly what I'm talking about right now. And those of you who haven't seen the movie, when you go and see Den of Thieves 2, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. The pole scene from rooftop to rooftop. I kid you not, in any way, shape or form, guys, the angling of the camera and the expression of the physicality of them climbing the pole. I was convinced completely, 100%, they genuinely, wholeheartedly were that far off the ground, because it felt like they were, and B, that they genuinely climbed up that way. And I guarantee you that it was completely not real. 100% guarantee it was completely not real. However, they had me hook, line, and sinker, and I fell for it completely. I was so impressed with that scene. It was so awesome, and I genuinely, wholeheartedly was ridiculously impressed, guys. This is a good film. As I said, it's not as good as the first one, but it gets better. Like, it genuinely does. It gets really good. And there's like a couple of funny scenes. Don't get me wrong, this is not a comedy at all. But there are a couple of funny scenes that I found really funny, and I had a good laugh, and I was kind of impressed with that. And I want to end with this, guys. First of all, I thank you so much for sticking around. I really appreciate it. I hope that my thoughts and my personal opinion on this movie review has given you enough oomph and enough excitement to go and see the second one and rewatch the first one. Seriously, thank you for sticking around. I really value that so much. And I'll leave you with this. One of the things also that bugged me about this film that I thought was really stupidly annoying. It just was. Big Nick is escaping through a stairwell scene. It's a stairwell sequence. And he hides in a crevice thing in the stairwell. And the security guard runs straight past him. And I was like, and I audibly out loud went, bullshit. Like, I legitimately was like, no. That's crap. That would not happen. Like, because it wouldn't. He would have seen him. Yeah, he was dressed in black and he has a balaclava on, but he wasn't even in the dark. Like, he would have seen him running past. Anyway, guys, you guys have been amazing. I appreciate it so much. Thank you for sticking around and watching this double feature for Den of Thieves and Den of Thieves 2. I really appreciate it so much. And if you haven't, I don't know why you haven't done it yet. Go ahead and click the subscribe button. Now, while you're clicking the subscribe button, see that bell? Click that for notifications. That way, anything I drop on my YouTube channel, it'll drop on the device that you're watching YouTube at the time. Thank you so much for that. Give this a thumbs up, because that, brings people to my, to my movie reviews. And also, while you're at it, leave a comment in the comment section below. I'd love to hear from you. I always message my my subscribers back, and I love the feedback. It's awesome because your opinion counts, and I really value it. You guys have been amazing. I value your time so much. Thank you for being here. Guys, don't forget who's bringing this review for Den of Thieves and Den of Thieves 2. This is Superman Steve, appreciating you always and loving your time. Woo! Flying out!